NPA expose Bushiri's lies. NPA expose Bushiri's lies. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Dr. Jones. Why Not TV? Please subscribe. Remember that this news does not come from Dr. Jones or Why Not TV. It only comes from IOL. The South African government has rubbished Prophet Bushiri's assertions that the National Director of Public Prosecutions flew to Malawi to defend him and his wife Mary. The government's response comes after Bushiri made the assertions during his extradition case that was held in Malawi 4 days ago. Among other things he claimed was that the National Prosecuting Authority NPA had fabricated the evidence against him and his wife. Department of Justice and Correctional Services spokesperson Crispin Phiri told the Star that Bushiri's claims were outrageous and out of touch with what the actual job and function of the Director of National Public Prosecution NDPP entails. Rubbish. The NPA doesn't defend people, it prosecutes them, Phiri explained. Bushiri's lawyer has accused the NPA of doctoring documents, adding that he had evidence of the original extradition documents. However, NPA spokesperson Mthunzi Nanga denounced the lawyer's accusation as being further from the truth. All prosecutorial decisions are based on evidence, and the NPA is guided by law, constitution, and NPA policy in its prosecution process. Therefore, we deny fabricating evidence as the prosecuting authority, Manga explained. He further revealed that the NPA team was still in Malawi, but were expected to come back in the country later on Thursday or Friday morning. It's not the first time the self-proclaimed prophet made the absurd accusations against the South African government. In 2020, he claimed that there had been an attempt on his life and that the authorities did not offer him protection. Furthermore, Bushiri escaped the country illegally. This was despite him saying he wanted to clear his name. Through the extradition treaty, Bushiri was arrested by the Malawian counterpart and later released on bail. Before he fled the country, the prophet had been released on bail after he was charged with fraud and money laundering. Many in the diplomatic community believed that the matter would create a diplomatic spat between Malawi and South Africa. As questions were being asked how Bushiri and his wife managed to leave, Bushiri does not only face allegations of corruption, he was also accused of preying on poor people, desperate to improve their lives by selling merchandise including miracle oil. In 2018, Botswana shut down its church due to what they referred to as concerns over so-called miracle money. Regardless of the extradition process, Bushiri revealed that the Malawian government was in his corner. According to reports, flights to Malawi had increased. This was communicated by the Tourism Ministry spokesperson. The national carrier Malawi Airlines has seen 14% jump in passenger numbers since Bushiri relocated. Its spokesperson Only Taulo says it has a very good business working relationship with the Bushiri Ministry's logistics teams. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Dr. John Swiner TV. Please subscribe. Bye for now. Till we meet again next time. Subscribe. Remember that this news was not coming from Dr. John Swiner TV. It only came from IOL News. Bye for now.
Ultimate knowledge of the case against Prophet Shepherd Bushiri will be required to testify in a Malawian court.
Now, back in 2020, the pastor, Shepherd Bushiri, and his wife Mary skipped the country after being granted bail in a fraud and corruption case against them. Yesterday, the High Court in Malawi overturned an earlier ruling that witnesses in South Africa could testify virtually.
Well, the South African Justice Department says that as the case is not a criminal trial, only those with knowledge of the extradition case will be required to present themselves.
At the heart of this judgment was what are the relevant witnesses which were required to appear before the Malawian authorities. And this judgment clarifies that the relevant witnesses are agents of the state or representatives of the state, as it says in some instances, or people with intimate knowledge of the investigation that's at play. And they are required to answer specific questions in terms of Section 6 of the Extradition Act in Malawi. But most importantly, the judgment also really draws in a very important distinction to say that this is not a trial within a trial. An extradition hearing is completely different to any other matter that would be presented before the court. So this is not a criminal process before another criminal process. And at first, maybe when seeing some of the headlines that most of our colleagues had put out, one of the things that we did think was that, is this possible that the Malawian authorities actually want actual witnesses in a criminal trial to appear in Malawi and testify? And the judgment makes it quite clear that they do not want the witnesses of a criminal trial. That would be that would be a trial in and of itself, and they're not interested in that type of a matter. What they want is people who have intimate knowledge of the investigation itself to appear.
We start with some breaking news out of Malawi. A court there has ordered the release of fugitive pastors Shepherd and Mary Bushiri. The magistrate ruled that they were illegally arrested. The pair, who fled South Africa last week, handed themselves over to police in the capital of Malawi yesterday. Leaders of the Enlightened Christian gathering are accused of fraud and money laundering amounting to more than 100 million rand. Another shock development in the Prophet Bushiri Shepherd case. The magistrate court in Lilongwe ruled that the Bushiris were in custody unlawfully. The court says proper processes weren't followed despite the fact that Interpol had communicated South Africa's warrant of arrest. The pair of fugitives also brought themselves before law enforcement. The state was applying for the fraud accused to be retained in custody behind bars for another 30 days to allow for the extradition process to get underway, arguing that the Bushiris had already fled South Africa and there was no guarantee that there were no longer flight risks in their home country. The court found that the Bushiris surrendered, showing their compliance with Malawian law enforcement.